What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's horror news update, we have a few articles we're going to go through. As you see here on the screen, we have an update for the film Primate, which is set to release in January. So we're going to jump into that article first, but we also got some news on the film called Vicious, which I think that's the one, if I remember correctly, supposed to be starring Dakota Fanning. Which that one I believe is going to Paramount, if I remember seeing the headline correctly. We also have they released the full list of films. I think it's the full lineup. I'm sure it's the full lineup because I scrolled through and it was a pretty long article, which we are not going to read every single one, but I wanted to at least bring it to you all. Provide the link in the details of this video for Fantastic Fest 2025. It is a massive lineup. We'll scroll through it fairly quickly. And then also there was a passing of someone in the horror community, in the horror films, Lorna Raver, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who recently passed away. So you may recall her from Drag Me to Hell. So we're going to touch on that here shortly. But obviously want to recognize those who devote their lives to the arts, especially to films that we all love and enjoy. And it's always sad to see them to live their lives and pass on, but you know, I'm sure she had a great life, and I'm glad she was able to share her talents with us. But yeah, we're going to touch on that here in a moment as well. So let's jump into this first article. As I was just mentioning, Johannes Roberts' gory horror movie Primate sets January release. Now, we've talked about gore horror or gory horror films. I think they've always been out there. So I'm not saying, and I use this example a lot, and I only use this example a lot because it's the most recent example that has revitalized gory horror or gore horror, which was Terrifier, specifically Terrifier 3, with its massive success at the theaters last December. Now we all know that the new reboot remake of Toxic Avenger is coming out, and apparently now there's some uproar about that film. Studios are now all of a sudden getting scared about this film releasing because apparently what was screened to a lot of studios previously was an R-rated version, and they weren't aware of how apparently gory and I don't want to say vulgar, but how violent, I guess, so to speak, the unrated version is. And now there's been a recent article where there is a scene where Toxie exposes himself for a scene to get out of some trouble. And again, apparently the studio heads weren't aware of this, and even the theater heads weren't aware of this scene, weren't aware of just how different the unrated version is to the rated version. So now, again, theaters, studio heads are now all of a sudden getting worried about releasing this film as unrated in theaters. So all that to say is, with this headline article, gory horror, I don't know how, Primate is set to release in January. So we're several months away from this film releasing. I don't know about this film. I don't know how gory this film is, but I know there's an audience out there for this. I think there's always been an audience out there for gore horror. Studio execs, theater execs have never really been wanting to take the chance to put these films out there in theaters for any length of time. So, and I thought the tide was changing with Terrifier 3, because when that happened, then we eventually heard about Toxic Avenger happening. And I thought, okay, I think this is, I thought at the time, Toxic Avenger is probably getting a big push because they saw the success for Terrifier and they don't want to lose out on that profit as they did. So now studio heads might want to take a bigger leap. And I'm thinking now they probably don't, and at least not to the extent of something being unrated. So let's jump into this article detail and see what this one's going to be about. Again, I have no context on how gory, so to speak, this one is supposed to be going to be. So the latest from director Johannes, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I do apologize. So I want to also point out there, I'm not a wordsmith. I'm not going to pronounce every word correctly. I'm not going to pronounce every name correctly. I do the best that I can to pronounce them correctly, especially if it's not something I'm accustomed to seeing or using in my everyday vocabulary. So if I'm mispronouncing something, I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm doing it because, again, it's not something I use in my everyday vocabulary. So if I pronounce something incorrectly, I apologize if that bothers you, offends you, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm sure there's many things that you all don't pronounce correctly either. So, the latest from director Johannes Roberts is Paramount's upcoming horror movie Primate, and it's bringing its gory mayhem to theaters early next year. Primate releases in theaters January 9th. So yeah, we got a ways to go, and I'm wondering. I think that date will hold because not too many people are looking to release their film the first week of the year. Wolfman tried that this year. I thought that might have been a good way to kick off the year. Wolfman turned out to not be nearly as good as anyone thought it was going to be, unfortunately. So maybe this one will have better luck in the January slot for 2026. In the horror movie, a group of friends tropical vacation turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival. No other plot details have been revealed so far. So that really tells us nothing. I mean, primal tale of horror and survival. But I mean, it's gore horror. So I mean, this could be okay. We're on a tropical vacation, group of friends, probably a group of young 20-year-olds, social media influencers, something of that nature. They probably want a trip. They're going there. Or one of them is now all of a sudden dating someone that no one's met, and they're extremely rich. They're going to pay for this all expense trip to this tropical vacation, and then only to find out that they are somehow some serial killer who's now has all these like killer crocodiles and bears and lions and everything that they're going to play a game of survival. I mean. That's exactly what I would get just based on what I'm reading from this, and just something I would expect to see in 2026 for horror. Roberts, and I could be wrong though. If I'm wrong, then I'll admit I'm wrong when the trailer drops. Roberts co-wrote the screenplay, so we have other names here. If Roberts' involvement and the description of Primate's plot doesn't hook you, then it's worth noting that the upcoming horror movie has been set to open this year at Fantastic Fest. The festival describes the film as an unbelievably entertaining horror movie filled with gory mayhem. Okay, Walter Hamada is producing Primate, part of a new horror pact with Paramount. Hamada, who recently left WBDC, good riddance. He never should have been in that position. Has a ton of horror cred from his time at New Line, producing countless horror movies, including Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street remakes, which honestly weren't. I'm sorry, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake for me was a complete miss. I will say I did enjoy various aspects of Friday the 13th remake, but yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake just wasn't for me. I definitely prefer the originals, as well as The Conjuring and its various spin-offs. Now that I'll give him credit for it, because The Conjuring. I love those films, and I'm looking forward to the final film coming out. Yeah, I'll definitely give him his cred on that one. And the 2017 adaptation of It, via his production company 18 Hertz Productions, Walter Hamada is slated to produce several mid-budget horror films for Paramount Pictures per year for both theater and streaming, with Primate making its world premiere next month. And again, next month is when the festival takes place. I think it's August. I believe it starts on the 22nd, but I know there are films going through the 23rd. So it starts next Friday, and I'm not sure if it's just a Friday-Saturday thing or if it runs through beyond that. But I think the vast majority of the films I've seen are dropping on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, that's the latest for this film called Primate. So obviously, all those who have access or will be attending Friday Fest, then obviously you might be able to get to see this one and let us know how it is, and if it is this gory mayhem film they're claiming it to be. So, all right, moving on to the sad news for today's update. Drag Me to Hell star Lorna Raver has passed away. So we're just gonna go right into the details here. I'm not sure how long this article is, but something I wanted to touch on. So as you see here, she did pass away at the age of 81. A long life. That's 81 years old. I mean, not a lot of people get to, definitely don't get to live to see their 80s, and she got to live to see 81. So that's I think an achievement in itself. The actress died on May 12th. So but the news was only recently made public in the summer 2025 issue of SAG-AFTRA magazine. Best known for that's interesting that she had passed away on May 12th, and it's only now being made I guess, public. I mean, that's interesting that it's been, what, a little over 3 months and a couple days, and it's just now coming. And this just got released, I think, yesterday. So it's interesting that this is just now making its way to the public. So, best known for playing antagonist Sylvia Ganush in Sam Raimi's 2009 horror film Ravers. Other genre credits include Freeway, The Caller, and Charmed. She also narrated the 2016 audio book edition of Stephen King's Cujo. Born in Pennsylvania, Raver started her acting career in the theater before making her on-screen debut as the secretary of Dana Carvey's character in 1990's Opportunity Knocks. So we have also on here some other things that she appeared in, as you can see. Again, kind of a wide range. I mean, you're talking about, you know, from like Bones and Gilmore Girls to Star Trek to horror films. So I mean, I mean, you're crossing a lot of genres here. Even Malcolm in the Middle, Desperate Housewives. I mean, these aren't like all similar shows. These are all vastly different shows. And considering then the horror films, so wide range of talent there for sure. And this is just a picture of her in The Caller. And that's the end of it. Like I said, it wasn't that long of an article, but just something I felt that was appropriate to highlight and call out for, just for the fact of, again, when you look at that body of work, it's not like, oh, you spent your entire time in one, you know, space or one genre, right? You kind of, she definitely had a wide net there for sure. So, all right, so moving on to our next story. Bryan Bertino's Vicious, starring Dakota Fanning, set for October release on Paramount Plus. So I'm not. So yeah, this one obviously not getting. I don't think this one's getting I mean, it's not going to get a theatrical release based on this information I'm seeing here. Firstly, I mean, because it states here that it's going to get Paramount Plus and digital October 10th after Fantastic Fest. Wow, which again is next week. So within what, 2.5 3 weeks, it's already hitting digital. So not going to get a full theatrical release, not even a limited release. So I'll say, I don't know if Dakota Fanning, obviously as she's gotten older, not really pulling in maybe the crowds or whatever, but I know one of the last films I saw her in, I think it was The Watchers, I had the trailer looked fire, the previews looked fire, the film started off good. I was hooked. We did a watch party here for that film, and right when it got about more than halfway in, when I guess like the glass ceiling broke and you found out what was really going on, I thought to myself, really, that's the story, that's what's happening. I'm not going to ruin it because I know a lot of people may not have seen it, so I don't want to spoil it, but very, very disappointing on how that film took a turn and winded up ending. So was very displeased with that. And I know she was somewhat recently in the Equalizer 3, kind of reuniting with Denzel Washington after so many years. So, all right, so check out the poster below for the latest horror film from the Strangers writer-director. So, I mean, I will say I'm a Strangers fan. So, I mean, I've spoken on the Strangers before. The first film was one of my absolute favorite films. I can't wait to see Chapter 2 of the Strangers that we're going to get this year, and we get Chapter 3 next year in the new trilogy. So if it's anything like that, I mean, I'm sure that I will love it. So when Polly receives a mysterious box from an unexpected late night visitor, it comes with a simple instruction. Place 3 things inside: something you need, something you hate, and something you love. What begins as a strange ritual quickly unravels into a waking nightmare. Trapped in a terrifying world where reality bends and memory betrays, Polly must navigate a series of impossible choices. As time slips away, she's forced to confront the darkness not just around her, but within her, before it consumes everyone she's ever known. Pretty interesting synopsis of the film. Maybe some supernatural aspects to it. Based on if you're putting things into a box, and then whatever you put in there, there's the consequences of whatever you're putting in this box, right? So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So I wish we had more. I wish instead of like these festival ones, we would get some trailers for these films. Maybe, and I worry because if this one's dropping on October 10th on Paramount Plus and digital, with this one going to Fantastic Fest on the 22nd, 23rd. So let's do that. Let's math that. So that's 1, 2, Oh, October. So I'm sorry. I was getting okay. I got for some reason I thought October was next month. I don't know why I was thinking we were in September. So we actually have well over a month and a half actually before this drops. So maybe we will then after the premiere then of next month, then maybe we will get a trailer for this, which would be great. Because then we could, have a better idea of how this synopsis is going to play out. Because it's hard to really say on this one. Is it supernatural? Is it not supernatural? Witchcraft? Is something cursed? Not cursed? Something to do with her past? I'm sure it will. So, let's see. We said okay. We do have a poster. Also, it says here, Vicious was initially slated for an August 8th theatrical release before being moved up to February 28th and then getting bumped from the schedule altogether. Well, that sucks. So August 8th. So they would have done this August. So it would have already been released last week. Then they got moved up to February 28th. So it doesn't say if that was August 8th of 2024 and then 28th of 25 or vice versa. Like August 8th of 2025 and then February 28th, 2026. So yeah, it doesn't say. All right. So I have a poster here. Hate the poster. I'm not gonna hold back on that. I hate the poster. All this up here. I mean, this right here would have been fine just with her name in the title, but you don't need all this up here. You don't need all this right here. You don't need all this right. I mean, come on. Just put the Rotten Tomatoes score here. Just put, scariest thing per Jane Doe from New York Times or some nonsense, right? I don't understand that. I mean, and and staying true to the synopsis, you have Dakota there, you have the box. I mean, how much simpler can the poster get? I mean, come on. So, yeah, not keen on the poster. It's hard to say how this one's going to play out. Hopefully, again, we'll get a trailer after the festival. So, all right, let's move into our last story for today's update, which is the Fantastic Fest 2025's massive lineup, which, as you see, includes Black Phone 2, Shelby Oaks, and we just literally talked about Bryan Benito's Vicious and more. So Black Phone 2, Shelby Oaks, we did trailer reviews on both of those. I can't wait to see both of those, especially Shelby Oaks. I know a lot of people didn't care for Shelby Oaks. They didn't care for the trailer, and I think this might have already. I don't know if Shelby Oaks has already premiered somewhere already or not. I thought I saw a couple people coming out with reviews on that one saying they just didn't like it at all. But again, I think I've said this before. It's okay. We're not all gonna like the same things, and that's fine. I'm gonna like something, and many people aren't. I mean, I know there are tons of movies I absolutely love. And people don't, and the vast majority of people don't. And I'll give you a great example. I love Joker. It's not a horror. I mean, we're talking about now just in general, not just horror film. I love Joker. I love the first film. I think many people did. I love Joker 2. I think it's a great film. I think it's a very misunderstood film. And I think what will end up happening is, as the years go on, it's going to get revisited and it will eventually obtain and find its cult following and become a cult classic. I don't think many people understand the film. That's just my opinion. They were expecting more of what they saw in the first film. And when they didn't get that, they absolutely then just started trashing on it. That's my opinion. So that's just an example. All right, so as you can see from the scroll bar here, this is a long article. We are not reading through this entire thing. We are not going to review every single movie. I will put the link for this article in the description of the video. So yeah, I did get my months mixed up. So I kept saying next week. It's next month is the Fantastic Fest. So yeah, for some reason I was like a month off in my mind. So Fantastic Fest is back this year for its milestone 20th anniversary from September 18th to the 25th, 2025 in Austin with a massive slate of horror programming. It will open in spectacular fashion featuring world premiere of Paramount's Primate, which again we just talked about. I think that was the one we just talked about, actually the very first story we covered, which it goes on to talk about the same synopsis we just mentioned. Tropical vacation turns into a tale of horror. The closing night film will be the world premiere of independent film company and Shudder's horror film Whistle, from director Corin Hardy. And a group of high school students discover an ancient Aztec death whistle that unleashes a deadly curse upon their town, as the teens hunted down one by one to meet their deaths in spectacular, gruesome ways. It's a race against time to discover how to stop the demonic force before it's too late. Sounds like a Shudder film. Sounds like a streaming film. Does not sound like a film you would expect to see going to theaters for any length of time. So it's also look for exciting titles like Black Phone 2, Vicious, Shelby Oaks, Strangers Chapter 2, and Death Chasm 2, Gormageddon, among insanely packed lineup beyond the premieres and screens. Also look for the following. So yeah, so again, this is where now it kind of gives gets into the long. I'll grab the scroll bar and just scroll through. You can see just how. I mean, I know it's going fast. I'm trying not to let it go that fast. So here's one we did cover. So Bulk, we did a trailer review on that one. So there is a trailer out for that. Actually, let's go. Actually, I am going to go back to the top. We'll scroll through this pretty quick just to see if there are any ones that look familiar to us that we did trailers for. So 13 Days Till Summer, nope. Angel's Egg, no. Bad, no. So a lot of these so far have not seen any trailers pop up for. Now Black Phone 2, we did a trailer review on that. Has a trailer out there. Still a lot of these. Bulk, I just mentioned, we did a trailer review of that one. So I mean, again, as you can see, this I probably won't scroll through all of this because there's just so many of them here. But I mean, some of these look as I would expect them to look. Some of these do look, just based on the picture that we're getting and the names, they look like they'd be pretty interesting to see. I would say I would love to go to one of these festivals and be able to see as many of these films as I possibly could. But yeah, I mean, so we have some animated as well. Very low, mid-budget. So yeah. Again, I'm not gonna. Again, I mean, as you can see, I'll scroll real fast. You can see how many pictures are just scanning by, right? I mean, there's a lot of films listed here. So, anyways, that's gonna do it for this horror news update. Like I said, I will drop the links for these articles in the description of this video, specifically for the Fantastic Fest list. So if you want to scroll through and see what movies are gonna be playing, you can do so. So make sure to drop a comment in the comment section, and also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.